Hi guys. So I wanted to come on here to share a part of my life with you guys that I kind of spoke about here and there every once in a while, but I never really went into any detail. But let me tell you how God works. So I was scheduled to have a myosectomy procedure done last week, and it's to get my fibroids removed. And I told a few of my friends because I was going to need some Postmates delivered here on Favor, because I wasn't going to be able to cook for myself, and also, you know, just for prayers. And one of my friends that I told, shout out to Ashley, she sends me her friend Simone's video, who just happened to have just gone through the same thing. She posted a video about it, and I just got through watching it, and her story was so much like mine. And it's crazy because when you have an issue like this, as severe as it is, like women talk about how bad their periods are all the time, but they don't know bad until like you've heard someone's story, like my story or her story, because it's abnormal. And it inspired me to want to come on and share my story, because I know we're not the only ones. I'm sure it's very few that have it as bad as this. But anyway, so I first got my period at the age of 13, and my cycles were so bad the doctor had to put me on birth control just to manage the pain. I mean, my body was rejecting the pain monthly. I would throw up. Sometimes I would pass out. I would have fevers. I would have to miss a few days of school, like the first 2-3 days of school. And it was just really, really bad. I'm like popping pills at 13, 14, like a fucking drug addict, just to like be able to function throughout the day like a normal person. Screaming. I would be screaming in pain. I would never forget, I was like in the 10th grade, and when I was in high school, I would take the public bus, the public transportation to and from school. And in New Orleans, it's called RTA. And I was on a bus, headed home, and I rang the bell to get off the bus, and I attempted to get up, and my seat was covered in blood. Like, I sat down so fast and put my booksack on top of my lap and just was praying to God that nobody noticed. And I'm like, I sat on that bus and I stared out the window, and I was like dying inside. Dying. This shit was so embarrassing. I stayed on that bus until the bus went back to the station. I didn't get home till like hella late. I had to call my mom to pick me up because I refused to get up until everyone was off the bus. I didn't know if anyone had saw, if anyone could smell me. I felt like that girl that was in, you guys ever saw that Carrie movie with all the blood? That's how I felt in that moment. But anyway, I had bled through a Super Plus tampon and an overnight pad, which I had to wear every time I was on my period. Until this day, still I have to. Dating was always difficult for me because I didn't want to be around anyone around that time. I would pick a fight or just avoid them because I didn't want to like have an accident and, you know, be embarrassed. I always have to have a towel down while I'm driving, while I'm sleeping, while I'm sitting on a couch watching TV. I mean, even right now, I can show you this towel. It stays here. And then I have one next to my bed, that purple one that stays there. I was saying I have to drive one in my car with a towel in my car. And of course, when you're young, you're going to Planned Parenthood. You don't have insurance. They're not trying to figure out what's going on with you and really depth. You know, they're not. You're bleeding and hemorrhaging like a freaking horse every month, and they're not trying to send you to any labs to get tests done or ultrasounds or anything like that. So birth control, like switching birth control was the answer. Oh, try a new pill, try this, try that, or get the depot shot. You won't have a period at all, which I never want to do that because I knew that it's very natural for a woman to have a period. So when I became an adult, I mean, I was still on birth control as an adult. But when I was approaching my 30s, I felt like I had been on birth control way too long, and I didn't think that it was healthy to continue to be on it. And around that time, my mom was really ill, and she didn't have any grandkids, and I didn't know if she was going to live to see me have kids. And I made the conscious decision to get off birth control to try to have a baby, though I was in a very toxic relationship. But I've always been one to try to see the good in people and not hold their past against them. I believe in second, third chances sometimes. And I'm just a lover at the end of the day. And though I knew that situation wasn't right for me, I did try. But by the grace of God, it never happened. My mom did get better. She has a grandchild now from my brother who's married, did it the right way. Not to say that anyone that has kids out of wedlock is not the right way. Just scratch that part. Anyway, but that prompted me to go to the doctor to see what the fuck. Because I had never been pregnant and never had a pregnancy scare. And when I got off the pill, my period came back like 10 times worse. I mean, Jesus, it was so bad. I'm canceling dinners and like even my own birthday events. I can't go to fittings on certain days when I book a job. I lost out on a couple of jobs because I couldn't show up because I mean, my blood clots sometimes my blood clots are the size of a grapefruit, and it just plops out whenever it wants. I mean, pushing my tampon out, bleeding through the overnight pad is completely, it's just miserable. So I go to the doctor and they diagnosed me with endometriosis and fibroids. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I get this shit out? Like, I don't like what to do. And the answer is, I went to like 3 gynos, and they all told me that the placement of where they were, that I would have to get a hysterectomy. No one wants to hear that, especially someone like me who lives in this hopeless romantic bubble and want beautiful twins and a family. And it was really hard hearing something like that when you're so young and you know that you believe that one of your purposes is to be a mother, and you know that you're going to be an amazing mother. So I started doing my research, and found out that food contribute to the severity of certain situations. And Simone, she spoke about this, how like growing up, you know, like when your parents aren't home, or like you need a quick meal, the go-to meals were hamburger helper or like fish sticks, and where I'm from, hot sausage sandwiches. Sorry, like I would stop eating meat. I hadn't had pork in like 20 years. I hadn't had beef in 10 years. I stopped eating chicken, lamb, and turkey and all that about 5 years ago. I'm a pescatarian. It's very hard for me to let that go because I'm from New Orleans, and that's the only thing that saves me when I do go home. I'm like, if that's the reward, if kids one day or the rewards for stop eating meat, which has more hormones in it, which makes my situation worse, and I'll do that. So the first year or two, I was going to the doctor like every 6 months, getting checkups to see if the situation was worsening, to see if they were getting better, if more was popping up, and it was just staying the same. Like before I had completely cut out meat, they were getting worse, but since I've been a pescatarian, they have been staying the same. Oh, I have a funny story. Okay, so you didn't really eat healthy growing up. Like I didn't know what an avocado or asparagus was before I moved to LA, and I remember cooking for this guy once, and I had green beans on his plate, and he asked me, was the green beans from a can? And I was like, yeah, why? And he was offended that I gave him green beans out of a can. And I'm like, I grew up on green beans out of, like, or do they come fresh? Like, I didn't know anything about fresh produce. And it was kind of like, no, I wasn't embarrassed, because I'm like, this is who I am, but I really liked him and I wanted him to like me, and I'm a cooker. Like, I mean, now I know about all the freshness and stuff, but I take pride in my cooking because I know how to cook. I'm like a authentic New Orleans girl. So yeah, I thought that was funny. Simone, she had a young woman on her IGTV named The Raw Girl, and she spoke about how she heals women all around the world of their fibroids through food, becoming vegetarian and vegan. And I'm pretty sure if I could have done that cold turkey, maybe I wouldn't have to get surgery, but because of the severity of my case, just like Simone, I have to get surgery. I remember when I first told my mom I was gonna stop eating meat, she thought it was fucking crazy. She wanted to have me committed, she thought I was on some Hollywood stuff, and I'm like, Mom, like, food is not the same that it was when you were growing up, and there's a, you know, it's over processed now. There's a lot of impurities in it that is just not good for anyone to be eating. It's just not the same. She eventually got over it and knew that I have to do this for me. Like, having tumors in your uterus is so painful. It's not a joke. The Raw Girl, she also spoke about how your body is working together as a unit, and it's important for your estrogen levels to be balanced. And she spoke on how different stress levels also contribute to the healing process, and letting go of things, sexual traumas, which I've experienced it, physical abuse and emotional abuse traumas, which I've experienced it, anger, holding on to things and not letting things go, which I feel like we've all have been there before. And I didn't even know that. It just was recent after the passing of one of my best friends that I wanted to strengthen my relationship with God and start meditating every morning and just having a sound mind the top of my day, and making faith my ultimate foundation in my belief system, that I feel like I didn't know that could help. But grief could make you love God more or not believe, and I chose to love him more. So that is an important key in just you know, taking care of yourself, and vitamins and sleeping. My friends make fun of me sometimes because I'm a very structured person. I need to get my 8 hours of sleep. Now I'm into fitness. If you follow me, you know that I did a fitness competition last year, and for a little bit of that time, I developed an eating disorder because I went below my natural normal body fat percentage, which for the competition is needed to like actually rip up like that. But when that happened, I didn't have my period for 3 months, and I felt like a whole new woman. Like, I was like, oh my God, I could fucking fly. I'm a unicorn. And I didn't want to have it no more. I just completely lost my shit for a minute, and then I snapped out of it because it's normal for women to have periods. And if, Natasha, you want children one day, you have to have your period. So yeah, I got over that really fast, but I thought that was interesting to say. Yeah, so I wanted to share my story because I'm having my procedure done next week, and it's a very terrifying, scary situation. This doctor, he is a specialist, and he after my research, he is one of the best, so I hear. He is performing the procedure with a robot. I will be left with 4 incisions on my stomach, which I pray to God heal very beautifully, if not well, as long as I come out with my ovaries. I would like to ask for you guys to lift me up in prayer. I will keep you posted on the date and the post-op and my healing process. And I just want to thank you, Simone, for posting your video, and thank you for having the Raw Girl on. Also, my friend Tia Mari Hodrick, she has a book because she also suffered from endometriosis. She has a it's a nutrition cookbook with all kinds of food that you can eat that will help heal your fibroids as well. But yeah, sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. And unfortunately for me, none of the other stuff, the teas and I did go raw for like 10 days when right before I stopped eating meat, and I got a colonic and all that, and just try to cleanse my system out. Yeah, none of that worked for me. Thank you for hearing me ramble, and I love you guys. Pray for me. I pray that my story touches someone and that you're able to share yours. We are all in this together. And yeah, bye.